What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Scores! He did it again!
I just killed him. Before the game, I just killed John Madden because of a stink bomb.
Split special teamers, and now Brown is off to the races. Hurdles, kicks him in.
Giants are coming off a worse week than Harvey Weinstein.
That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
Game's over. Game is finally fucking be over.
Ed, you got to turn your mic on. I think. Got his hand on the button.
And now, our feature program.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Hey!
Merry Christmas, ladies.
Are we actually doing a show right now?
We are.
Huh?
What?
What? Is it Christmas again?
No, we're finally done with all that. Thank God. Are you guys tired of wrapping presents?
Yeah. What day is it today? Is today Thursday?
Today is Saturday.
Where did the last 2 days go?
I don't know.
I believe lots of food, put in the food coma, then had to wrap presents.
I think I gained the COVID-19 within the last 24 hours.
It happens.
Over the holiday weekend?
Yeah.
So, Chris, how was your holiday since you're the only one that was not here?
Very quiet since, my kids are up in Illinois. Well, one's in Wisconsin. The rest of them are currently in Florida on their little family vacation. So it was very quiet, and we ate some good food. I took a big nap. We were good.
That sounds like a better time than we had. Right, Nate? Right, Jeremy?
A big nap?
What is this nap thing you speak of?
I don't normally nap.
Is that what you do between
weird.
the hours of like 2 a.m. and 4 a.m.?
No, that's what you do. What most of us call sleep, you call a nap.
Well, it's because he's finally done working on that fort he has, so.
I still don't understand where that fucking nut went.
Maybe there was no nut. Maybe you just thought there was a nut.
You thought you took a nut off.
Was. No, the worst
I
part,
think Nate just wanted to say nut.
He did. I'm pretty sure I put it back on the end of the tie rod, so I don't know when I ever took it back off. That's the worst part.
He'll find it next month when he's moving some stuff around and be like, huh, that's where it went.
I'll be like, how the fuck did it get over there? I'll be cursing Nate going, I know it was Nate. He did it.
I don't know why it's always me.
He's like the child who's like, ooh, nut. Ooh, I'm gonna put it in my pocket. Use the force.
Shiny.
There's no need for that. I don't need that thing.
It's shiny.
Oh my god, I look like I have a fucking 5 head when I shift my hair over. Look at how far up this shit goes. It's like Jeremy.
You're getting bald in there, Nate.
He's gonna master the comb over here
you
soon.
and your brother, you both have these high widow peak things going.
Mine's not too bad.
Ridiculous the hair, and then you guys just shave it off.
Nate, it's because you're in a relationship now. As soon as you become in a relationship, it just goes, and the longer you're in it, just keeps going and going and going.
Why do you think I wear hats?
It looks worse because I have thin hair. So it's different when you have a the widow peak thing going back or receding hairline back here. But when you thick-haired people, y'all two, you can't even tell because it's just luscious and thick. But yet you guys shave your heads
because it's hot.
You guys don't even do anything good with your hair.
So wait, is that what the thick and thin refers to? Is the hair? Is the hair now?
I mean,
Apparently.
It makes more sense that way than.
Well, Nate's starting to get a little thicker. Right? He's still the thinnest of us all, but he's other than Chris.
I told Travis I have a stromboli top. So when you have a stromboli on a hot pan and the cheese kind of goops out of it and one side's flat and the rest of it just kind of bulges over itself, that's me. Flat on the back and just bulging out all the way around.
Amanda said it's not her fault.
So let's start talking about this stuff, I guess.
What stuff?
The
Are we
sports
actually
stuff.
doing a show tonight?
Yeah, we're gonna do a little show.
Oh, we're not just chatting because we missed each other?
Oh, we did miss each other. I miss Chris.
We all know that's what the show's going to end up turning into, but we got to hit certain points at some point.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
why didn't we bring Chris in on a video chat on Thursday?
When everybody was at your house, Jeremy?
Yeah,
Because you don't have a computer set up upstairs.
there's one on the desk up there, idiot.
Oh, I forgot. I keep forgetting that
In
there's
the
one
dining
there.
room. I literally sent you over there to get something from in front of it,
That
too.
desk is like just a catch-all desk. There's a monitor there, Mac monitor thing, but no, that's never used.
That's a full computer. That's not just a monitor.
Oh. Well,
That monstrosity of a desk the wife wanted, you mean?
yep. It's
Pretty
Saturday
impressive.
night. After Christmas, the Miami Dolphins and Raiders are playing, and I think the Raiders are up last time I saw.
Yes, they are.
There's football going on right now.
Yeah, there's still football
There is.
on the NFL Network.
13-6 at the half.
Oh, so
Yep.
it's not a big space right now.
No, it was a one touchdown game.
The Tampa Bay game earlier today was a quite big blowout.
So I ran out to quickly find that nut to replace that with, and I was gone for maybe till about 10 past,
Yeah,
and they were already up 13-0. I'm like, what did I just miss?
a field goal and 2 touchdowns.
No,
I-
a touchdown and a missed 2 touchdowns and 1 missed extra point.
Yeah.
I had no idea football was even going on until right before going to Travis's house.
He was playing Madden all day.
I was. It was great. I took a nap. I did absolutely nothing, and it was everything I had hoped it would be and more.
Well, let's start off with some basketball. The NBA.
Oh,
Yep, basketball. You know that sport that none of us really watch. The
Yes.
NBA finally kicked off their season for the 2020-2021 season last Tuesday night on December 22nd. Anybody watch a game?
I've
Yeah.
seen a little bit here and there.
No, so,
The
Journey, you
Celtics
saw
were
the
on a
most
few
of it.
times. No, the Celtics were on a few times. They beat someone, and I think they're actually on Christmas Day too.
Oh, I don't know. We didn't when we were there. We didn't turn on a football game.
That was Christmas Eve, and that's because
Oh, yeah.
the wife just. We walked outside for 2 seconds, and the wives decided to play Mario Kart on
Yeah.
the Switch.
Next thing you know, we were playing Mario Kart. So, does anybody think that anything's going to actually good happen in basketball this year?
Hey, basketball doesn't matter till the postseason, anyways.
Right.
There's too many games.
what he said.
Though there's less
Yeah.
games than normal, but there's still too many games.
I concur.
So Amanda will be happy because the NHL is set to start January 13th. The puck will drop officially on January 13th, and teams will play a 56-game regular season ending on May 8th. Each team will play the other members of its new division 8, 9, or 10 times over the course of the season. Does that sound like a lot of games to you in that short timeline, or is that just me?
No, that's normal NHL.
Yeah. Play 2 or 3 games a week.
Yeah, sometimes 4.
So you remember those crazy conferences we were talking about last year? We can finally stop talking about them. These,
For now.
yeah, for now.
now.
For at least the 2021 season. But I'm kind of liking the new split up.
Well, no, because they said if the vaccine is distributed wide enough, they might go back to, at like a good breaking point, they might revert to the old styles.
See, I don't like the old style. It was a pain in the ass to follow. It was just hard. But the new, there's only 4 divisions, a north, south, east, and west. And so the teams in the east are the Bruins, the Buffalo Sabres, the New York Jersey Devils, New York Islanders, the New York Rangers, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Washington Capitals. So it's regionalized. At least it's all the teams are regionalized better than even better than the NFL. Those teams will face each other 8 times over the course of the season. Then in the Central, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Columbus Blue Jackets, Dallas Stars, the Detroit Red Wings, the Florida Panthers, the Nashville Predators, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Those guys.
Well, my fucking Red Wings are screwed.
Yep. Those teams will also face each other 8 times this season because they're not going to play anybody outside of the divisions until they get to the playoff part time. In the West, we're going to have the Anaheim Ducks, the Arizona Coyotes, the Colorado Avalanche, the Los Angeles Kings, the Minnesota Wild, the St. Louis Blues, the San Jose Sharks and the Vegas Golden Knights. Those teams are also doing 8 times this season. And in
when is the Kraken getting?
Next season.
That's next season.
Is that okay? That's what I thought.
That's this off season's the player draft.
Gotcha.
And to keep the Canadian teams still in this thing, and I think this is how they're going to keep them in Canada. The North teams are the Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers, the Montreal Canadiens, the Ottawa Senators, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Vancouver Suck My Canucks, and the Winnipeg Jets are all playing each will face each other either 9 or 10 times over the course of the season because there's less teams in that division. I guess.
At the very least, you could have said any of those Canadian, like any hint of a Canadian accent.
Canadian.
Well, I'm not Canadian, unlike you.
Canadians.
Come on, didn't you like the fact I added words and he still read it like
No.
what's his name does?
Oh, I do not like the Canucks.
The Vancouver Suck My Canucks. You got to Hoover, Vancouver.
It just I'm like,
So-
I need to put something in somewhere, and it fit too easily.
So, Chris, other than your Detroit Red Wings being in a brutal division now, what do you think of it? Yeah.
I mean, I like it. I mean, realistically, my Wings haven't been good in years, so like I honestly most of the time root for the Blues.
Yeah.
Just because I hate the Chicago Blackhawks, so like I'm okay with it because I mean it's still pretty competitive across the board.
I was gonna say it seems like each division they kind of separated. There's like 1 or 2 like really good teams out of those in those divisions, and like, of course you have 1 or 2 that really are suck.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be good matchups, I think, overall. And we're gonna have a good idea of who the better teams are and whatnot.
So how are they going to do are they going to do it like the top 2 teams from each division or conference here play in a playoff bracket? Or
So I couldn't find anything about the playoffs yet.
They probably haven't figured it out yet.
All I know is that they split it up, regionalized, so that way they can minimize travel, minimize crossing like state lines and borders, because Canada isn't letting really anybody from the U.S. in, and they don't want to really let anybody once they come to the U.S. to come back in.
Yeah, because right now it looks like it's very kind of college setup, where you're only playing these teams from this conference. This other conference is only playing these guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, the way it was where you can potentially play all these teams regardless of wherever they are.
Yeah. And
It'd
that's
be kind of interesting how they're going to do the postseason given this kind of bracket or setup.
My guess is that they probably have 2, and then 2 from each the top 2 from each division, and then maybe they add 2 more teams, but the best overall records kind of thing.
Okay, here's what they said a few days ago. Season wraps up May 8th. The league will return to a 16-team best-of-7 4-round playoffs. 4 teams from each division will qualify for the playoffs. The first 2 rounds will be intra-divisional games. Then the 4 division winners will advance to the semifinals, received based on the regular season point totals. Number 1, 4, number 2, 3. The 2 semifinal teams will play in the Stanley Cup final. So that's the playoff plan as of right now.
So there's 14.
That wasn't hard to find.
I couldn't find it when I was looking for it. Of course, I was looking real quick when I realized that I should get stuff for hockey, because hockey's starting up soon. Because, it's almost January.
His quick is extremely quick because now he's got a baby that he has to jump over to and do things with when he's eating.
You mean take the baby, lay it on the chest, go, okay, you can fall asleep there.
Yep. Have you ever laid on that chest? It's pretty comfortable.
The problem is once she's there, if you move, she wakes up and then the yelling starts all over again.
Well, that's like the your arm falling asleep theory. They get comfortable on you as soon as your arm falls asleep, and if you move at all, they wake up.
Yeah. Well, so that means the top 4 in each division will play out against each other, and the winners out of that will then go to a more normal conference.
Yeah, so it seems like it's going to be it's going to be 4 teams from each division. So the top 4 from each division, each 4 of those divisions will make it to the playoffs. They'll play 2 games against each other, or 2 series, I should say.
Yep.
To bring it down to 4 teams. So then, in theory, the winner of each one of the 4 major divisions will then go probably to a bubble somewhere, and they'll play each other there.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Should be a little bit different than what we've previously seen, where it's just a craziness free for all. It seems like. All right.
It seems like it'll definitely be a very interesting way to go about doing it.
It seems like the more appropriate way, though.
Yeah, I kind of like it that way.
I mean,
Makes sense.
You have the best team from each division play each other. That's the only way you really figure out who's the best.
Right.
And the funny part is our residential hockey fan is listening, but not down where she can actually comment.
She doesn't like you anymore. That's why.
She said Nate smells funny.
Nate always smells funny.
Nate just needs a shower. It's okay.
Probably. I don't think I showered today. That's why I look homeless.
It happens.
Like just disheveled.
All right, Chris, are you ready to tell us all about our new favorite sport?
I suppose I could do that. So, last weekend, like we talked about last week, were the conference championships. So, in the Big Ten, number 4, now number 3, Ohio State beat number 14 Northwestern 22-10. The ACC, Notre Dame got spanked 34-10 by Clemson.
Yeah,
SEC,
the game wasn't good to watch.
No, it wasn't. The game to watch, and I missed probably the most exciting part of it, was the SEC. Number 1 Alabama versus 7 Florida. 52-46, Alabama pulls it off.
Wow.
Florida rallied at the end to come back in that game. In the Big Ten, number 10 Oklahoma
You mean the Big 12?
defeated Iowa State 27-21. In the Pac-12, unranked at the time Oregon
Wow.
beat number 13 USC 31-24. And in the AAC, number 9 Cincinnati beat number 23 Tulsa 27-24 on a last-second field goal.
Sounds
Yeah.
like
I bet USC was livid when Oregon beat them.
Yeah. So we talked about, the 2 big firings for college coaches last week were Lovie Smith in Illinois and then Gus Malzahn in Auburn.
Yeah.
Those have both been filled already.
Wow.
So
That was quick.
Auburn announced this week that they are hiring former Boise State head coach Brian Harsin, which, living 30 minutes from Auburn, I can tell you the fans down here are excited. They're happy about it. And then Illinois hired former Wisconsin coach and former Patriots defensive assistant Brett Bielema to the head coaching position. He's from Illinois, and he's got experience coaching the Big Ten. So I think those are both pretty good picks. Harsin's record at Boise State was like 70-something and 23. Like he's got a big winning record.
That's a winning pedigree right there.
Yeah, so he's one of those coaches. He brought Boise State back into national recognition again, out there in the Mountain West. So
You see, I'm concerned with the Brad Bielema hire because it seems like he's a 1-year and done coach everywhere he goes.
So he was in Wisconsin for, I want to say 3 or 4 years. He was in Wisconsin for a little bit, and then he went to Arkansas, and then he went to
He's
the
jumped around a
Pats.
bunch.
Yeah, and then so hopefully maybe this sticks, and he can bring Illinois back into at least he I doubt he's gonna do what he did at Wisconsin, and bring him into Big Ten title contention right away. But hopefully he can at least get some winning seasons under his belt, get some fans going back to Memorial Stadium there in Champaign.
Well, I think after all this lockdown, fans are just waiting to be able to actually go back to see games.
That too. I
Yeah.
think you're going to see packed stadiums no matter what team it is next year.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna care anymore. I think they've hit the point where they're like, I just want to go. I need something to do.
I don't think we're even going to be able to get the $25 tickets at Washington for the Washington football team anymore.
Well, no, Washington's gonna be good.
Oh,
Might be
yeah.
able to get the Jets though. The Jets for like 20.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you guys think that those positions were filled rather quickly, or do you think that, maybe they had some of these candidates in mind before they even released the coaches?
I think that they definitely had these guys in mind, just because you don't fill them that quickly without like having an idea of who you want. But it's also college where you got kids that are declaring shortly, so they want to make sure their head coaches are set so that way these kids have a reason to go there.
Right.
Like you have coaches coming from Patriots, which are a known winning pedigree, and another coach coming from an also winning pedigree that you're gonna say, "Hey, these are our coaches. These guys are come from winning places. Give us a try."
Right.
Hey, Travis, I have a question for you.
Yeah, Nate.
Why do you not zoom in on you when you have the full sun of attention and leave whoever else is talking up?
Because nobody wants to see this ugly face, Nate.
I just noticed, like the whole time you were talking, Travis or Chris was still the main video, and then
Is this the first time you've realized that?
yeah, clearly I don't actually watch us on the front screen. I usually watch us on the Skype,
The Skype call, yeah.
so I don't pay attention to what's going on over here. And
Now that he has a big widescreen monitor, he's like, "Oh, I can see more."
that's true. I don't have to look up at the TV anymore. You guys are literally right in front of me now, so it's a lot more convenient.
Now he's all concerned. He's like, oh crap! Now I'm on the screen more often.
I just realized that Travis is never the main screen.
Well, because most of the time he's not talking anyways, and he's just doing stuff in the background.
Right. A lot of times, I just have to make sure everybody's where the
Like
right
right
person's
now,
up.
it'd be a Travis only.
It should be.
Travis single.
That's
I
right.
mean, think about it, Nick. How often did back in the day where it was me and you arguing, and Travis is just kind of there. He
Yep.
was just pressing buttons in the background. He wasn't actually doing anything. He wasn't saying anything.
Yep. And he's
Which
still
is-
he's still
He's just moderating.
Yeah.
Which is why we had to bring a Chris in, because we needed a third person to argue with.
That and
Right.
we needed somebody that knew college too, and Chris knows college better than any of us.
it's true, but I feel like if you're gonna be talking more than like 10, maybe 2 seconds, that you need to do camera one only on you.
I'll work on that for the next time, Nate.
No, we want you to work on it now. We'll talk.
Yeah.
again.
I know you can do it. I know you're capable of doing it right now.
Oh, it's a whole new thing, and I just don't feel like it right now.
I find
Anyhow,
it funny how my background looks like bleach white behind my head.
no, it's
Yeah.
a gray. It's a gray color. I think your screen might be washed out.
It looks on Facebook. On YouTube, it looks white.
Oh, maybe it's my monitor. This monitor is just a TV, so it's kind of not the greatest. Anyhow,
Probably.
let's get to Ohio State's running back.
Oodles.
All right, so Ohio State running back Trey Sermon, who is a grad transfer from Oklahoma, broke the OSU single game rushing record this week in the Big Ten championship. The previous record was set in 1995 by Heisman winner Eddie George. That game against Illinois, he ran for 314 yards. Sermon surpassed that mark, rushing for 331 this last week against Northwestern, and all but 65 yards came in the second half.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't heard Eddie George in a long time.
Yeah,
That's a
I
big name,
never
Nick.
thought that record was going to be broken. I mean, it's been 25 years.
That's a hard record to break, especially in this day and age where everyone's pass happy.
Yeah, I mean, they realized in that second half he was going off, so they just handed off.
Just
handed
fed
off,
him.
handed off.
Just keep feeding
And
him
then-
the ball.
They realized he was getting close. They just kept going. Eddie George did tweet right after the game, congratulating him on breaking the record and stuff. It was pretty cool to see, from an Ohio State fans' perspective. because they always talk about that record when Zeke Elliott was rushing for like 260 on some of those games. They were like, oh, could he get up there? Could he break the record? And he never came close.
I think it would have been better if he stopped himself 1 yard short.
Right.
Or tied the record just because.
Just looked at it. Yeah. Just looked at the score.
Yeah, just tied the record, just stopped it there, just took a knee. And then pointed to him, say, yep, that was for you.
All right. So, college football playoff is set on New Year's, New Year's, the semifinal games at 4 and on ESPN. Number 1 Alabama takes on number 4 Notre Dame. So they moved the Rose Bowl because California refused to lift their sanctions to allow fans at the game.
Yep.
So they moved the Rose Bowl, and this is the first time in history that this has been moved from Pasadena, California. They're going to play in Arlington at AT&T Stadium.
Yep.
Oh wow.
It's crazy.
Yep. And then in New Orleans at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome at 8:00 on New Year's Day, number 2 Clemson versus number 3 Ohio State. Gonna be honest, if we can keep it within 14, I'll be happy. I don't, as an Ohio State fan, unless they play their absolute best game of the season, they are not going to win this game.
Well,
the defense,
everyone saw what Clemson did to Notre Dame, which was supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league, and just said, "Oh, just bend over. Nope, no lube, just take it."
Yeah. Oh, and it is apt to note for Trey Sermon that Northwestern had one of the top 10 rushing defenses in the country.
Oh wow.
And he still ran for 330 on them.
Hey, we got a tie game.
We're talking about the
Dolphins game.
Dolphins game? Okay.
I'll give him the updates so Smitty knows.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's pacing watching it anyways.
That's what Smitty does. He paces.
The top 5 or the top 6. So first one out was Texas A&M at number 5, and then Oklahoma jumped from 10 to 6. So the way the rankings, and that's why on the little notes it says all the shit going on. Everybody's calling for expansion because you had an undefeated Coastal Carolina team.
Yep.
An undefeated Cincinnati team that are ranked 8 in, I believe, like 13.
Well, the only reason Coastal Carolina was undefeated is because they bowed out of that championship game, right?
True. Possibly.
You don't know what would have happened.
Yeah. So they're talking about, like, everybody's calling for expansion to an 8-game, like we've been talking about pretty much all year. Expansion to an 8-game. However, Matt Leinart actually brought up something on Saturday that made a lot of sense. If you're refusing to expand the playoffs, then in all these conferences, do it like the ACC did it this year and like the Big 12 does it every year. There's no divisions. You play everybody, and then that way the 2 best teams in the conference, not the divisions, the 2 best teams in the conference, regardless of, East, West, whatever. So you could have a Big Ten championship, Michigan, Ohio State, which you would never have with the divisions.
Right.
Right. So now I don't know if you'd want to see that because in a typical year that would be back-to-back weeks they'd be playing. But it would put forth essentially the best team in the conference.
Yeah.
For a potential playoff berth. The problem is, and they also brought up, when you have the same 4 to 6 teams in the, vying for playoff spots every year, that affects recruiting. Because if I'm a college recruit and I'm getting looked at by Ohio State versus, say, Cincinnati or somewhere like that, or even some of these other big name schools like Florida State or Miami.
Yep.
Like they said, the only thing that matters anymore is NFL and, playing for national title, because you got players opting out of bowl games and all sorts of stuff. So it affects recruiting when you don't give these smaller schools a shot to get in. So, but moving on from all the craziness in that, some of the notable bowl games, right? Moving forward, Liberty versus Coastal Carolina is currently on, and if it loads, Liberty is up on Coastal Carolina 24-19.
Oh wow.
Getting close
So,
there. Wasn't it 13-0 or something earlier? When we
yeah,
first jumped on?
yeah.
Like that?
They're pulling. They're close. Moving forward, other games of semi importance that could be good games. Let's see here. So Oklahoma versus Florida. All right, that is going to be on December 30th. That is the Cotton Bowl. It's also played at AT&T Stadium at 8 p.m. on ESPN. So Florida, Oklahoma, that's the number 6 and 7 team playing each other.
Oh wow.
So that should be a good game. And like I said, Florida gave Alabama a run for their money.
Hey, Tua used to play for Alabama, right?
Correct.
Right now, Tua is currently playing on 2 different channels with 2 different teams.
How's that make you feel, Nate?
The ACC network is playing the 2019 national championship versus Clemson and Alabama.
No, you're incorrect. Tua was not playing in 2019.
Tua was technically hurt during 2019. He got hurt in
It
2018.
might have been his little brother in there.
Who's that? Who's number 13?
That might have been his little brother.
That looks like a 10.
It might have been. It's his little brother. They're gonna have the same last name, dude.
Yeah. So
Nate forgets how that works.
Because Tua
I
got
was
hurt
trying
like
to figure out how to say
2
the
or
name.
3 in 2019.
Yeah.
So Nate, wrong, different people. Sorry, hate to burst your bubble.
Same family though.
Same family.
All right.
The brothers are playing today.
So let's get to Nate's team. Nate, can you give us the intro?
The
No,
right
he can't. He's not wearing the shirt.
All right. So
no, he can't
Nate's
get the intro, he's
Raging
not wearing the shirt.
Cajuns. Yeah, exactly. They were crowned co-champs of the Sun Belt Conference after their championship was canceled due to positive COVID tests. I'm not sure which team had to cancel.
I think it was the other team. I think it was
Coastal Carolina.
Coastal. Yeah.
Yep. So earlier this afternoon, they defeated University of Texas San Antonio 31-24 in their bowl game.
Wow.
Quarterback Levi Lewis went 12 for 22 and 146 yards with 2 touchdowns, while running back Elijah Mitchell had 127 yards on 19 rushes and 1 touchdown.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. 12 for 22 is not that good.
That his passing numbers have never been that good. So one more bowl that I want to highlight, or 2 more bowls I want to highlight, is going to be, and this is just for Nate primarily, West Virginia versus Army. So Army almost didn't get to play in a bowl game because their original bowl, which was supposed to be played,
wasn't it supposed to be played last week?
I think it was supposed to be played last week. Got canceled because of COVID, and they weren't going to get to play. But then West Virginia's opponent fell out due to, they withdrew their bowl bid. So Army stepped in, is actually playing in the Liberty Bowl, and that's going to be on, December 3rd. That's on New Year's Eve at 4 on ESPN.
Cool.
You say
And then
December 31st.
You say December 3rd?
No, December 31st, New Year's Eve.
Okay. I
Yep.
thought you said December 3rd. I was like, wait.
Yep.
Did you
And
hear?
then the other one that I want to highlight that I think it's going to go one way or another. It's going to be a good game or it's going to be a blowout. I can't guarantee which. January 1st in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, the University of Cincinnati, undefeated Cincinnati, is taking on Georgia. This is a chance for Cincinnati to prove that just because they're in the AAC doesn't mean they can't hang with one of the top SEC teams. I think that's going to be a good test for them.
And if they hang, then that means that these smaller teams need to actually have a chance to play for a national championship.
Exactly. And
so it's like
there's
a lot of pressure on them almost to hang, if not win.
Yep. So I was talking to Jeremy earlier, and because we don't know the full draft order yet, as far as who's picking where, at least for the next couple weeks until the first part of the draft order set. I'm just gonna run through the top 10 projected best available players in the draft as of right now. So at number 1,
hold on, Chris. And we figured as teams, in theory, like once the regular season ends, we'll go through the top 18 teams because in theory the other 14 are still playing. Kind of like where they would be and what teams in theory would slot to those positions.
Yeah. So we'll kind of
keep adding as the playoffs roll through.
Yeah, we can go through that. But right now, your top 10 overall. This is overall rankings per ESPN. At number 1, you have Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Clemson. At number 2, Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. Number 3, Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, Oregon. Number 4, Devonta Smith, Alabama, wide receiver. He is a Heisman finalist, as is Trevor Lawrence. At number 5, you have Jamar Chase, LSU. He's a wide receiver. At number 6, Micah Parsons, Penn State, inside linebacker. Number 7, Rashad Bateman, Minnesota, wide receiver. Number 8, Patrick Surtain, the second, Alabama, corner. At number 9, Jalen Waddle, Alabama, wide receiver. At number 10, Kyle Pitts, Florida, tight end. It's notable that only 2 of the 4 Heisman finalists this year are in the top 10 rankings as of right now.
That's interesting.
So your Heisman finalists are going to be Trevor Lawrence from Clemson, Devonta Smith from Alabama. What the hell is that kid's name? Trask. Trask, the quarterback from Florida. Yep. And then you also have what the heck's his name? I'm drawing a blank. Mac Jones. All right. From the quarterback from Alabama. Those are your 4 Heisman finalists. And as of right now, Mac Jones sits at number 27 on the overall best players.
Wow.
And he is one of the favorites
to win the Heisman?
Yep.
Huh. Usually the Heisman is almost guaranteed to be the number 1 overall pick guy.
Yeah, it's either number 1 overall or usually a top 10 pick.
Right.
Just depending on the position they play.
Yeah.
If it's a quarterback, usually, yes, they are the number 1 overall. If it's a running back, you might see him drop to 5 or 6. But
yeah.
Well, do you think Trevor Lawrence is going to get docked picks or docked votes because of the COVID issue he had to deal with?
I don't think so because of the way he came back and destroyed Notre Dame.
Yeah, but do you think people might be like, well, he wasn't there, so we can't give him credit for games, so.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt him because he was a Heisman favorite going into the season, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly between him. It's probably between him and Devonta Smith, the wide receiver from Alabama. It would be my thing. I don't think Mac Jones is going to get it. They pulled Justin Fields was a front runner up until he had those couple games where he threw a bunch of interceptions and played like shit. So, it'll be interesting to see how that goes here in the next week because I believe rankings are next week or final. The finalists were announced this week, and I believe, I think it's Monday or Tuesday is the actual voting.
Isn't the Heisman winner usually a senior playing for his final year?
Nope.
No?
Because Johnny Football, that dumbass, I can't think of his last name right now.
Not Unitas, because that's old.
The dude that went to the Browns got
Manziel.
Yeah, Manziel.
Yes,
Football.
thank you. Yes, Johnny Manziel was a freshman when he won it.
Really?
Yeah, he was the first true freshman in Heisman history. Hey Nate, or Jeremy, without Googling it, pop quiz: who is the only 2-time Heisman winner in college football history?
O.J. Simpson.
Negative.
No, it's more recent than that. It's drawing a mind blank. It's recent too. It's in the past 10 years, isn't it?
Negative.
Wasn't it Emmitt Smith?
Nope. Going once.
Barry Sanders?
Nope.
Jerry
Twice.
Rice.
You'll never get it.
It's someone that
Archie
didn't-
Smith.
It's some
Archie Smith, the Ohio State running back in 1970.
You mean Archie Griffin?
Yes, that's it, Smith.
Yeah.
You
Yes,
did.
you did.
Yeah. Oh, he said, yeah, Archie Griffin.
See, you don't even know.
I
You
have an
still don't
autographed
know.
helmet.
You didn't even
Like
know
10
his
feet
last
away.
name. You're like, oh, it's Archie. What's a common last name? Smith.
Yeah, that Archie guy from
Emmett
the
Smith.
comics.
Yeah.
That
My
Archie
dog's
guy from the
named
comics.
after him. So there's your random trivia for today.
There's your random facts and knowledge.
I think that's one of the random trivias we never did was college, anything college related.
It's because none of us really know college other than Chris.
and even if you would have known, like even remotely known college, you probably wouldn't have got that one. Like you really have to follow college football to know that he's the only 2-time Heisman winner.
Yeah, because he wasn't like a big pros player ever.
Mm-mm. He did play in the pros, but he wasn't like huge. And mind you, I don't think any of us were alive when he played college football.
No.
No, we were not.
So I have a random off-topic thing because normally this would be like a Finn think tank. But we should do like a Cards Against Humanity show.
We should.
We all have the board game.
I don't
I
have the
do.
game.
Well, if we all have our own individual cards, we can play it like,
We could.
and we
I
can
think that's-
record it as a show.
I think that's gonna have to be a off.
After the football season, we'll have to have a couple of those.
That might be a talking stuff show or a at the movies with Chris and Nate show.
I think that might be a talking stuff show.
Yeah.
It was a
Well,
random.
well,
I just had.
so what we should do for
Nate, you
Thick
should
and
probably
Thin-
get in our sponsors while we have this little tiny break in between.
Is a Boston Cream Donut one of our sponsors this week?
No, it's because
It's just like Frosted. Never mind.
Well, you're talking about losing weight again, Nate. So you should probably plug our little sponsors.
Yeah, let's plug sponsors about health and fitness while Chris deep throats a donut.
Yep.
Hey now. I'm a fat ass and I know it.
I believe we have fnxfit.com.
Yep.
Use promo code TalkingStuff15 at checkout. That's 15% on your total order. And then Rep Fitness, Rep Sports, repsports.com. Use promo code TalkingStuff at checkout and save, I think, 15% as well. They do energy drinks and like stuff that you can actually get at like GNC or Walmart or whatever. It's not just like one particular brand. It's a whole different thing. So that's
you
it.
know, what we should do, since we can't really do a Cards Against Humanity, we should do. I think it's like what's your meme or what do you mean?
I have that game as well.
That's more appropriate for a sports podcast.
I have a game called What's Up Boomer that thing between new school and old school slang that we could potentially do.
That would be much
You
harder
are
because
treading on dangerous waters here, Nate, because when I go to Cuba, you know I tend to drink. And you want me to play that game live on the internet?
Yes, that's the point. So
Just saying.
I mean, it doesn't have to be live.
I mean, we've played that game in Cuba, and you know how messed up that shit got.
That's why he thought about it and was like, oh, we have to play this.
Speaking of trivia and stuff, I still have a lot of those cards we never went through. That sports trivia thing, the in-laws
yep.
got for me. Still have those things we can pull up someday.
There we go.
All right, so let's
It's just
get
random NFL trivia, I think.
well,
Just give Chris a heads up.
talking about the NFL.
Before you get into this, did you guys hear anything about this? The NFL selling advertising space on the jerseys for next season?
No, I did
No,
not.
I did not.
I think I heard it on the radio a couple days ago that their ownership meetings that are about to take place are going to actually hold a vote on whether or not to add advertising onto the NFL uniform.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're gonna
So-
have Mahomes sponsored by
Allstate. Like,
No, Hunt's ketchup.
Hunt's ketchup.
Aaron Rodgers.
Mahomes sponsored by Allstate. I think State Farm might have a problem with that.
Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes are going to be State Farm advertised.
The discount double check.
But I mean, that makes me wonder, like, does the player have the ability to sell their own advertising space on their jersey, or is it team dictated on what advertisers are allowed to put on each jersey?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Consider you have some of these players who have sponsorships, and what happens if it's a team dictated and these teams and their sponsors, like the commercials they do for these companies, are contradicting the companies that they're wearing on their jersey.
Well, like, take David Bakhtiari, right? His jersey number is 69. Sponsored by Pornhub. Is Nike going to allow that because Nike's little swoosh is on that jersey as well? So that by default, does that make it associating with Pornhub?
The Pornhub just do it.
Number 69, David Bakhtiari, sponsored by Pornhub.
Oh, I guarantee you, they're going to be very strict, and it's going to cost a surplus to get any jersey space on that.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
They are going to be very strict. Because think about it, one of the NFL sports talk media guys got fired from ESPN because he did a commercial for Manscapes.
That was Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, he got fired from his job at ESPN because of the commercial he did for Manscapes because it violated some contract thing. So Nike has overall control of that, and they are going to be very strict about who they allow in that jersey.
I say what we do is we all mortgage put a lien against our homes by advertising on one of these players, like a good one, like a Russell Wilson, like on a night.
Even if we all our mortgages combined, wouldn't even buy like one game worth.
No.
With all our mortgages combined, we are still broke.
Are we getting Don Cheadle to do the commercials for this?
No, you can get what's his name for cheap nowadays, Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
Those commercials for his cell network.
Should get Paul Giovanni. He's doing great with those accountant commercials. I would love to have him advertise for us.
Well, speaking of things in the NFL,
Yes.
so reports that I was reading is that the NFL is looking for a new home for Thursday night games. Currently, they're either on the NFL Network or Amazon Prime with Fox, but ABC and CBS and Fox are no longer interested in Thursday night games at all. The NFL Network has been the home of these games for a long time, but they're starting to even waver away from holding these games. And so the dual casting is probably going to be going away, but Amazon Prime is currently the front runner to possibly carry every Thursday night game. Are you guys surprised that they're considering even picking up the Thursday night game or these main
Amazon
networks?
Prime's trying to get their foot in the door to start bidding on the bigger games, and they need to get at least in to prove that they can do it on a consistent basis without issues, and before they can even start trying to commit to bidding on the regular Sunday games.
Because they did hold the second game today.
Yeah, I was just about to say that the middle game that played today was on Amazon Prime only, and it seemed to go off without a flaw. So I think they are more in the market to try and push the agenda that says we are a liable broadcaster for your weekly games.
And
they can sell. Amazon could probably sell an upgrade package where you could, in theory, watch like an NFL. They could probably include the NFL. What's that called? The NFL
Sunday Ticket.
Sunday Ticket.
Or the Red Zone.
The NFL Sunday Ticket onto Amazon Prime, where it's, buy this for this amount because you're a Prime member. You can do this and you can stream all the games live. Instead of having it on the TV on regular channels, now you can stream it on through the Amazon app.
Yeah. Like if that was like
or the Prime Video app, I should say.
Right. So like if that was an add-on to Prime, say it was, so Prime is what, $100 a year, Jeremy?
something like that.
Nate, are you
Okay,
gonna
Nate.
blink, dude?
Nate,
He froze.
I think
He didn't freeze because I can see his hand moving.
Oh, yeah, hand is moving.
so. Like, I
That was
watched
very
it today.
difficult to do, actually. It was really hard.
Nate, you could have just like paused your video on that snapshot and not done anything.
So like,
At first I thought he froze, but I could see his hand, like, because he was holding his cup. I could see his hand.
I could see every once in a while I could see his throat move.
Imagine how I am with like holding, the salute and all that in the military, just standing still.
He's like,
Very shaky. So like I watched it
salute?
on Prime and it was fairly well. It didn't have any problems. I didn't see any issues. Like I had a
I didn't
couple
like
of
the announcers.
weird. It was like behind a little bit on a couple of spots, and I was like, "Well, that's interesting." But it was what it was. But
One of
if Amazon Prime
guys
is what $100 a year, Jeremy?
100. I think it's 112. I think it's pretty much $10 a month or 120.
who was the last game before the San Francisco and Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one of the announcers on there was horrible.
yeah. They
like, you
need better
randomly
announcers.
Felt like
Well, so that wasn't an Amazon announcer though. That was a regular NFL announcer.
It
Real-
didn't seem like an NFL.
Yes.
It seemed like it was like a B class announcer because
it was a former player, and he was very, Vince Scully, bringing up like random bits of whatever he did that day in between plays. Like it was just really old comments. Like he forgot that he was even on live programming.
yeah, he was his. I don't know. The announcing I didn't find great at all, but
But you could hear somebody say "fuck" during one of the games.
Yep.
Yep.
I always
Can't get that on regular TV.
No, they can swear on Amazon Prime, but so it's $120 a year. Say they added the NFL ticket and it was a $10 more a year. That's something I would add to it just so I could watch
Yeah,
every game.
They wouldn't do it for $10 more. They'd probably sell it for another like $80 or $100 more a year.
Yeah, that it wouldn't be worth it because you're like, well, then it's not worth it.
Plus, DirecTV has the monopoly on the Sunday ticket.
No,
So it was Andrew
they did.
Hawkins and Chris Long were the broadcasters, as well as Capri Campion.
I don't even know who those guys are.
Apparently, they're more recognizable to Niners fans.
Ah,
They're former Niners players, apparently. Just to give you information on who it actually was.
so like, but if it was gonna be that much more, it's not worth it. Because that's like, but then you can buy. So I could buy NFL tickets straight out for that price, and it's not worth buying an Amazon Prime to get the NFL ticket.
Yeah, but you already
if
have
you already
it.
have Amazon Prime.
But it's the same price. So the NFL ticket is the same is $120, I
what?
think, for the year
On what though?
on everything.
But so the thing is, if you don't have any of those other any of the other services that offer it,
So you can get it straight from the app now. It's not just through DirecTV anymore.
I know that, but I guarantee they'd probably sell it for like a little bit cheaper because it'd be an Amazon Prime member deal. But I guarantee it'd probably still be pricey. The fact is, everyone's paying for Amazon Prime nowadays.
Yeah, but if
At
you're
least one member in almost every household pays for it.
yeah, but if I'm paying for Amazon Prime and I'm not getting a massive discount off of NFL ticket, there's no reason for me to buy an NFL ticket. If they want to stream all these games, they gotta give like a good discount to these Amazon Prime members, just to say that.
But the thing is, you can't stream regular games unless you're a Prime member, so doesn't matter. The fact is, their thinking is, oh, it's all in one place. You can watch your regular games on here, or you can watch any game on here. Because now, if they become a regular person, a regular like weekly broadcast, you have to tune into Amazon to Prime Video in order to watch these games. So if you're already going there, now you have all your access to all the games there.
Right, but people a lot of these places, like these streaming places, actually know that people are willing to switch from app to app. They don't care.
Oh, I know, but they're trying to make it more convenient to switch between the games.
Right,
all in one place.
but if they do that, but Amazon Prime, you're not going to spend
but
$120
is-
a year for Prime and then spend another $120 a year on NFL Ticket if you don't already subscribe to NFL Ticket.
Well, the thing
Because like
they're
I
not
don't
looking at those people.
I don't
They're
subscribe to
looking at the
NFL
people
Ticket.
Yeah, but they're not looking at the people that aren't subscribing to NFL Tick. They're maybe looking at maybe like 5% excess of revenue from people that don't currently subscribe to it. They're looking at people that already currently subscribe to it at 140 or whatever it is a year.
But
Well, we'll
year
give you
year after
$20
year,
off.
year after year, those numbers go down because people are like, it's not worth it. It's
I
gotten
know
so
that,
expensive
but
that it's not worth it.
But so say you can get it from NFL Network direct on the app for 140. Well, now you can get it from Amazon for 120. Well, that's $20 cheaper. People are going to be more apt to do it through Amazon than they are through the NFL app, just because of the fact it's $20 cheaper.
Right.
They don't care what app it's on. If it's cheaper, it's cheaper.
Hey, Chris, you know how I sent you a picture of that Mustang earlier?
You sent it to the wrong Chris.
I sent it to my uncle, and like, gave me a thumbs up. And he's like, "Oh," he's like, and I was like, "Oh, I was wondering who I sent that to," and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "I thought it was my Christmas present." I told him, "I'm like, I'm just glad it wasn't a dick pic."
All right. So let's continue.
I'm glad you didn't send me that either.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing over here. Is I was like, oh,
You're sending
wait,
dick
Uncle
pics?
Chris.
That's not good.
No, I haven't talked to my Uncle Chris in a minute. So it's like, oh yeah, Chris Hanks.
I did talk to my Uncle Chris in a minute.
All right. So the big question up here in New England and Pat's Nation is if Cam Newton will start the next two games, or if it would be time to let Jarrett Stidham take the reins and see where he is at in his development.
Why don't they start Brian Hoyer?
Because we've seen what happens with Brian.
Been MIA since Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start him.
He's
So-
harder to find than Whitey Bulger was for all those years.
So do you guys think it's worth starting Cam with all the struggles he's had, or go ahead and start the second year QB and see if he's worth keeping?
It was time to move on from Cam after about the third game in a row where he threw for under 100 yards.
And
In the
zero
NFL,
TDs?
No, I don't really care about touchdowns. In the NFL in this day and age, if your quarterback cannot throw for 100 yards, he is not a quarterback.
Nope.
I mean, hell, freaking Joe Schmo backup and wherever can throw for over 100 yards a game. There's something wrong with Cam.
Well, no, we proved this, Nate, right? Joe Schmo cannot throw for 100 yards because all he gets is a field goal. Your wide receiver you picked up as a QB.
Oh, that dang. You could have gotten something. How you gonna pull a Tim Tebow and get me nothing? God damn it! Same fucking team. You know what? I am never gonna pick a Denver quarterback ever again.
So the issue with that is he was a practice squad receiver turned quarterback.
No, he was a quarterback freshman year turned to wide receiver who was a practice squad receiver turned back to quarterback in the NFL.
Yes, but he was a practice squad player. He wasn't even a backup.
Like a actual playing QB?
Yeah, like
Oh,
Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's a perfect example. He's a wide receiver. He became a quarterback, and he still threw for more than over 100 yards easily.
Back-to-back games, he went 1 and 5 and 1 or something like that.
So he did pretty good. I was surprised. But so it's literally you can find Joe Schmo backup quarterback from almost any team, and they could throw for more than 100 yards. Hell, Brian Hoyer can go out there and throw for more than 100 yards if he wasn't on the Whitey Bulger hideaway plan.
Except for after those 100 yards, he throws his first interception of the game, and usually he follows that with 3 more.
Hey, he's still. Hey, the fact is he's still moving the ball down the field.
Yeah, better than Cam
Three
has.
and out gets old very quickly.
Yeah, Cam is very good at that. So, Cam is expected to start against the Bills, unfortunately, but this is what we're going to deal with. I think it's worth time. It's time to move away from Cam and see at least what we got with Stidham, see if it's even worth keeping him.
I think you guys are going to keep Cam for another year with a training camp, and you're going to get rid of Stidham. And then you're probably going to either trade for Jameis Winston or some other struggling backup quarterback that was a starter at one point and needs his return to fame. And then maybe pick up another quarterback in the draft so that way you have an extensive backfield of community that you can compete for the starting position.
You're funny.
And Cam Newton's probably going to win out, but he's going to have a training camp, so he'll probably be able to play.
I don't think Cam wins out. I think he does. So the biggest part of Cam's game throughout his career, his ability to run the ball. And if you watch him now, his running looks almost like Brady running the football. He looks slow. He looks sluggish. He looks just.
He looks tired.
It looks like something's just not there.
I think it's on purpose. I think the Patriots are purposely placed themselves where they're at so that way they get a better first round pick than normal, not really tanked for like first round.
No. It's not all a Belichick plan. It's not all a Belichick plan. Stop listening to the sheep. It's not all a Belichick plan.
What listening to sheep? I'm the one talking about it.
He's the one who came up with it 3 weeks ago, actually. Were you here for that show?
No, I probably wasn't. But no, they've been talking about that on every day on Boston Sports Radio.
I don't listen to Boston Sports Radio.
This was all Belichick's plan. He knew the COVID was going to hit. He knew these players would opt out.
I'm not going to go that crazy.
They have tanked the season just so they can get a higher draft pick.
That's okay.
They're holding Cam instead of back, making sure they don't perform well so no one else takes them. That way they can get it on the cheap. Oh, I've heard it all on the Boston Sports Channel.
Well, as of right now, if the Dolphins make
I haven't heard any of that means that I came up with it.
So you're just as bad as the crazy fans from Boston about that.
Yeah.
No, Cam cannot. Cam is a great guy, great interview, great teammate. He just doesn't have
bad
the game
QB.
His issue is his threat as a quarterback was at any given point he could take off and he could run through you because he's a huge person. Well, he can no longer take off at any given point, avoid the sack, and just take off and run the ball because he doesn't have that mobility to do it on the.
The legs are gone.
I think he still does. He's just been told to stay in the pocket and absorb the hits.
No.
Well, as of right now, if the Dolphins can manage to win this, and make it to the playoffs, they will be one of the first teams ever to make it to the playoffs and have a top 5 first round pick. I think it is what I was hearing earlier today or the other day. I can't remember. What day did I go shopping? What day did I go shopping, Nate? Do you remember?
I wasn't with you, so I don't know.
Was it Thursday or Wednesday? Did you come to my house that day or no?
No, it was before I went to your house. So it had to be like Wednesday or Tuesday. It had to be Wednesday because I didn't really do much at work Wednesday. But yeah, that's what I was hearing. I was like, huh, that's interesting. But right now they're down by 3, so who knows?
And they're at 4th and like 10 plus still.
Yep. And the last thing on the NFL we're going to talk about, the Browns are the latest team to be hit by the COVID bug. So these are all a list of players considered close contact.
I am not happy about this.
Jarvis Landry, Rashard Higgs, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Now, I want a name like that.
Oh, you're
Darrell Hodge.
These are just for the past few days. I didn't go back and double check.
Jacob Phillips and BJ Godson.
Well, as of tonight,
who else is added?
Landry is also out on the COVID list.
That was the first person he said.
Yeah.
Listen up.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Fuck. Yeah.
But unfortunately, he missed the key fact here. That since Jarvis Landry has entered the NFL in 2014, this is his first game he's going to miss.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize that. So who has Jarvis Landry on their fantasy team?
I'm assuming the one who's angry about this right now.
I have him in both leagues.
Oh, jeez. And what was he predicted to get before this happened?
Probably like 15.
17 or 18 points.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry.
He was significant impact on my roster. Playing against Mo, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, how pissed off is Smitty? He's not in the championship after what's his name went off.
That's okay.
Went off last night.
Yeah, he's blowing me out.
He probably has like 200 points and he only like 4 people played.
It reminds me of that week I played Jeremy.
Yeah. I'm looking at my roster. I'm like, well, I have 23 points. I have had 3 players play. Smitty's got like 3 players to go, like still haven't played, but he's almost to 200 points. I'm like, I need to have my quarterback do 80 points, and I need Tyreek Hill to go off for 80 points again.
Well, Nate, you're still projected to win by a bunch, though.
I know, but when I play your wife, I don't really take that much heed to the.
was actually predicted.
Yeah.
All right, Nate.
She just randomly manages to pull something out of her ass every freaking week.
Well, Hopkins got hurt today, so that killed her early.
Though it would be perfect that I beat her in the first game of the season to beat her again at the end of the season. She's beat me in between the season.
So Nate,
So
let's get to your playoff picture.
My playoff picture.
Yep.
Oh, that means I gotta do something.
Yep.
Oh.
All right. So in the AFC, we have 3 teams who have clinched. The Chiefs are at number 1 with a 13-1 record, and they are number 1 in the AFC West. The Buffalo Bills are second in the for clinching, and they're in number 2 with 11-3, and they are first in the AFC East. And the Steelers are in third with 11-2, and they are first in the AFC North. Still in the hunt for the AFC, you have the Titans 10-4, the Browns 10-4, Colts 10-4, and the Dolphins at 9-5. And that still have a chance. You have Ravens 9-5 and the Raiders 7-7.
So you need to clarify that they've clinched a playoff spot.
Correct. So
when you said clinched, I thought you meant like they clinched their division.
Well, one.
The Bills did.
The Steelers have not.
The Chiefs and the Bills have.
Yep.
The Steelers have not.
No.
Right. So,
I mean, minus the fact that the Browns are going to play this week with no receivers, they're playing the Jets, so they still probably should win. But if the Browns win out, they win the AFC North.
when was the last time they won the AFC North? Or, yeah. Right, no.
Probably when Belichick was their coach.
No, Belichick sucked there.
No, he did not.
He wasn't great.
Jeez, when was the last time the Browns went to school? Anyhow, while Jerry's looking that up, let's get to the NFC.
Oh, okay. So the teams that have clinched a playoff berth in the NFC is number 1, the Green Bay Packers, 11-3. The Saints are number 2, 11-4. Seahawks 10-4. Buccaneers are in 5th, but they are clinched. They are 10-5. In the hunt, you have the Washington football team at 6-8. They're first in the NFC East. They're in the number 4 slot. Number 6, you have the 9-5 Rams. The 8-6 Cardinals are 7. Bears start teams that still have a chance to make the playoffs. They're 7-7. The Cowboys number 10 with 5-9. The Giants at 12 with a 5-9. And 13, you have the Eagles 4-9-1. Though it says 14, I feel like I updated it so they could be 14, but I don't know.
So the Bears now hold their lives of playoffs in their own hands. If they win the next 2 games and the Cardinals and them have the same record, the Bears actually move into the playoffs. Chris, how does that make you feel?
It ain't gonna matter. We're still gonna get our ass whooped.
Spoken like a true Bears fan.
Pretty much.
No, a true Bears fan thinks that they still have a chance.
He's not wrong.
Chris is just a realistic Bears fan. That's the big difference.
Yeah.
So they have never won the AFC North since the NFL realigned its divisions in 2002. They won the AFC Central, the predecessor to the AFC North, 6 times, 71, 80, 85, 86, 87, and 89.
So 89 was the last time they won one of their division.
Yes.
31 years ago.
Nate did math.
Pretty quick too.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed.
So Chris,
Let's
you
get
want
to
to talk about these shitty teams in the power?
I can do the shitty power ranking teams. Yeah.
He loves the shitty power ranking teams.
So we have a new number 32. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 1-13. They were 31 last week. The Jets have moved up a slot at 1-13 still.
Holy shit.
They are 31. At number 30, the Cincinnati Bengals at 3-10-1. 29, the Detroit Lions at 5-9. They were 28. Houston Texans move up a slot to 28 with a record of 4-10. Also with a record of 4-10, the Carolina Panthers stay strong at 27. 26, the San Francisco 49ers dropped from 21 to 26, and they have a 5-9 record.
Well, I think did they win or lose? They won, didn't they?
They won, so they'll probably go up. But
they're 6-9 technically.
Well, this was as of week 16, so we'll get the week 17 power rankings next week.
Yeah, but they're 6-9 right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that number 25 down 5 slots, the Denver Broncos at 5-9. Up 1, the Philadelphia Eagles at 4-9-1. At number 23, the Atlanta Falcons at 4-10. At 22, the Dallas Cowboys moved up 2 slots at 5-9. The New England Patriots are at 21 with their 6-8 record. They're down 3 slots from 18. At number 20, the Minnesota Vikings at 6-7 are down 4 from 16. The New York Giants stayed at 19 this week with a record of 5-9. And the Las Vegas Raiders, who are currently beating the Dolphins, I believe, are down 2 slots from 16 to 18 with a 7-7 record. The Los Angeles Chargers are at 5-9. They are up from 22 to 17. And my Chicago Bears jumped 10 slots from 26 to 16 with a 7-7 record.
And at number 15, you have the Washington football team 6-8. The Arizona Cardinals are 14, 8-6. The Miami Dolphins 9-5 went from 14 to 13. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, are 10-5 now.
Yep.
Are still number 12. The Pittsburgh Steelers dropped way back from number 5 to number 11 with a 11-3 record. The Los Angeles Chargers dropped back from 6 to 10 with a 9-5, while the Indianapolis Colts move up 1 spot, 9-4 from 10 to 9.
That was the Los Angeles Rams, by the way.
What did I say?
Chargers.
Oh yeah,
That's the problem with having the same teams in the same state.
The Tennessee Titans jumped from 11 to 8 with a 10-4 record. The Seattle Seahawks are still at 7 with a 10-4. The Cleveland Browns managed to go down 3 slots from 9 to 6 with a 10-4 record as well, while the Baltimore Ravens somehow still managed to be within the top 5, even though last week there were 8, is 9-5. The New Orleans Saints were 3, they're now 4 with a 10-4. Green Bay was 2, now we're 3 with 11-3. The Buffalo Bills managed to go from 4 to 2 with 11-3, while the Kansas City Chiefs are still a number 1 with, I believe, a 14-1 record.
No, they haven't played this week, so
they're still 13-1.
Yeah, they play tomorrow.
Ah, okay. Now, I know why, because I just played them in Madden. That's why. All right. So, looking ahead, looking back at the week that just passed for our fantasy league, number 3, Joe Buck Yourself, played number 2, Dolphuckets, which used to be the Dolphiniacs, which I think this is why Smitty lost, is because he changed his team name. 181.22 to 140.9. Was mixing it up. Number 1 played number 4, Oompa 31's team, and won 214.94 to 153.8.
At one point in that game, I was predicted to win by 210 to like 180, and then it just went all to hell.
Yeah, you all two were bouncing around. Number 8, Ladies and Edelmans, took on number 5, Shamrockers, and lost 140.86 to 162.04, while Lieutenant Dan's Magic Legs at number 6 played number 7, The Muppets, and Lieutenant Dan's Magic Legs lost 189.92 to 201.96. This week, we have the championships week, where number 3, Joe Buck Yourself, 9-5, go up against number 1 was mixing it up, 11-3 for the championship. 7, Lieutenant Dan's Magic Legs, 6-8 is going up against Ladies and Edelman, number 8. And they're 5-9. They're playing for 7th place.
Yes.
Yeah, and Amanda's gonna beat me.
Number 6 is playing the 7-7 number 5 Shamrockers for 6th place.
Fifth
right?
place. Fifth.
Place. And playing for 3rd place is number 4 Oompa 31's team, 8-6 against number 2 Dolphuckets, who have a 10-4 record. And who is up on that one?
I am getting shellacked. Right now, I am losing.
Probably 100 points.
Oh, well over 100 points. He is at 171.72, and I have a whopping 31.6.
You may still have a small chance.
He has
I'm
1, 2,
projected to lose by
3.
40.
He has 4 players to play: a linebacker, a tight end, a running back, and a wide receiver. And it's his top wide receiver, his top running back, and his top tight end.
Well, there's only one tight end spot in theory, so.
Yes, but he could technically it's actually 3, but whatever. Those are all flex.
Yeah.
So why we are on the topic of our fantasy football league, there is a league vote that must happen, and we're doing it now.
All right.
I declined to vote tonight.
So
He's like, I am not drunk enough to vote tonight.
I don't have all the information. I'm only 4 beers in.
on the
Holy
docket
crap! There was a
vote
lot of messages back and forth.
is,
Yeah, I missed all that. Why is Fitzpatrick in?
Because
He
they're
isn't.
losing.
Well, no, but Tua was doing well.
So the thing in question is the keep it for the next year.
Boo.
The question was, if you
Boo.
player from this season for next season, do you get to pick said player again the following season if you want, and so on and so forth? Or is there a limit on the number of times you can reclaim your move ahead?
I
keeper
say
player?
there's a 2-year limit.
I say you shouldn't be able to keep anyone. Next year's a full new season.
I was gonna
Make it
say
redraft
1
everyone.
year. Like you get to keep them for the next season because if you give it, if you put no limit, like some of the people were saying, then essentially you're gonna have people that keep Mahomes, that keep,
Tyreek
Aaron
Hill.
Rodgers, somebody, that you're. I mean, essentially,
You can see a smirk on his face because that's what his plan was to do.
yeah, you're gonna keep these players, right? For and essentially you're more than likely gonna start your game knowing you're 70 points up. Like it
Not
takes
with
away
Aaron
from
Rodgers.
it.
He might get hurt. This year he didn't get hurt so far.
Well, I'm just saying.
So he's
like,
guaranteed
put
to
up
get hurt
Mahomes
next year.
or-
The real question is that your number 1 pick for the following year?
No, it's your last pick.
See,
So
that's the issue.
Nobody else can pick that player. You still get a solid number 1 pick. You don't have to waste your number 1 pick on your keeper player. At least that's how Smitty designed it when him and I talked about it. So I'm
See-
going off of the Smitty contribution to it was
I feel like if
my
you
plan
were-
was we just keep the one player. I had no idea of do we keep it at the end of the thing or the beginning, but we all get to keep 1 player.
See, the way I've done it in the past, if it's a keeper league, whatever position in the draft, like whatever round of the draft you picked him in, they are now, if you keeping them to the following year, they're now bumped up to the higher round. And then once they hit first round, they're always a first round pick. So that way, in theory, it's because it's still that quality of player. Where if you're taking that first round pick now, and now putting them at the 15th, whatever, the last round of the draft, now in theory, you have 2 first round picks on your team. And you
Which
start
still-
off with an advantage.
But it's still an advantage across the board, though, if we're all keeping.
More
No,
than
it's
likely,
not.
everybody's gonna keep their first round for the most part.
Well,
No, considering
No,
I
because
think,
Rodgers
I
wasn't
think
the first-round
3/4 of our league this year, the first round pick was on IR and is no longer on that no longer on that team
yeah.
or on that active roster at least.
Well, yeah, because I picked Christian McCaffrey first,
Right.
Yeah, and he's been on IR all year.
pretty much.
and I
Aaron
got
Rodgers
rid
has
of my first round
pick.
pick.
Yeah, so that's.
I would-
Maureen was going through early. She goes, "Yeah, these were the first round picks." And it's like half the players played like 2 or 3 games all year, and yet you have like
Or
3
was
or 4
inconsistent as shit.
Well, no, you have 3 or 4 that made it through the season, but you have the majority of the first round picks that made it like 1 or 2 weeks and then have been out for a majority of the season, whether it be all the season or 8 to 10 to 12 weeks.
Jeremy's just worried that he's gonna have to take his first round pick, and he's gonna have to keep his IR guy.
Yeah, that's my IR spot.
Okay, let's argue this one point. Let's figure this out right now.
So I say max 2 years.
I would agree with that.
I don't agree with him being the last round of the draft, though. I can't accept.
We're not on that
player
yet.
if it's not.
We are not even on that yet. We're on just whether or not we get how long we keep our one player. And it's-
The next season. The next season.
So it sounds like the majority, based off of us right now, because I think we should be able to indefinitely keep him as long as we want. You're saying till the end of next season. College and Thick are saying
Well, my theory is
next year you
can
get to
still
keep
draft
him.
after
That's
that.
it. You can still draft
still have
him.
a chance to draft him after that. You should only be able to keep a player for a second season.
So because the
or
keep for
or
2
until,
seasons
or
is
until they are a repeat first round draft pick, then you have to drop them.
Well, technically, all of us are going to keep a first round, basically what would be a first round draft pick.
well,
Yes or no?
yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, the way I've played it before, different leagues I've played it, and as Travis knows, I used to play a lot of fantasy.
Oh, yeah. More than Mo.
And that might be an understatement.
Hey, Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot don't count for fantasy.
No, if you used to see me on Sunday, I had the TV, laptop, tablet, second laptop, everything. Keep track of all my fantasy teams.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Okay.
Along with the phone going.
It was
But
bad.
So the way I used to play, the other leagues I've ever played keeper in, the player you could keep a first round draft pick for 2 seasons. The season you drafted him in and the following year. So any player that in theory was a first round draft pick slot could only stay on your team for 2 years unless you were able to redraft him the following year.
Okay.
And every year that you maintained a player on your roster, they'd move up a draft round. So if you say it was a 3rd round draft pick originally, they'd move up to a 2nd round, then to a 1st round, and then a 2nd year on your 1st round. Then you had
Okay.
to get. Then you could keep that year after that.
This is what we're doing.
I'm confusing you here.
Nope. So it's been voted. The majority's taking it based off of the 4 of us here. Whoever you keep for next year, you can keep them the 2nd year. You're not obligated to keep them the 2nd year. You can keep them the 2nd year. After that, you fall at the fate of where they are in the draft.
So let me clarify this. So next year is year 1.
Yes.
And then we have the option to keep them up to a 2nd year, so the 2022 season essentially.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to
And then
clarify.
Yeah.
you don't have to keep them the 22 if you don't want to. And if you pick somebody else, that will start the clock for them. So you pick somebody else, then they have 2 years on that one. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
You missed the extra point.
Now,
Of course. he
item
did.
2. Where do they go in the draft? First
A
round,
round,
second
a
round,
a
third
round
round?
above where they were picked the previous year.
So I picked Aaron Rodgers in the 3rd. So that means I have to get him in the 2nd.
Yes.
So
So
he
that-
would become your 2nd round pick.
So I still have a fair first round. Now,
I
who's
can't
in the
even
draft?
tell. I can't even tell you where I picked my guy that I plan on keeping.
It's all in the background
Yeah.
history information.
So I think to keep it simple, so we don't have to bear on the integrity system, is we have a set pick that they go in, either maybe the 1st, the 5th or 6th, or the last.
Well, no.
Oh,
that's-
there's my draft when I picked him. So because my player I chose in the 2nd round, I would have to choose him in the 1st round. That means
Yes.
that sucks.
Well, that's the issue with keeping a player. Because in theory, if you put him at the end of the draft, well, in theory, if you're keeping him, you think he's a 1st round talent. You can't pick him up as a 15th, 16th round pick. But if you want
Can we pick him up in the middle? Like,
I have a
because it's 16
question.
rounds, so can we pick him up at 8 and just that 8th round is your pick, is your overall pick?
No, because then you have then some people who would have in theory 2 first-round players, where in theory, if say a player that you'd want to keep normally was hurt all season, now you don't want to keep them, you're now jumping around trying to figure out who else to pick. The easiest way to do it is to take wherever they were picked the previous year, bump them up around. It's a fair, easy way. Everyone made their picks. They want to keep that player. They know the next year they're moving up a round to where they picked them.
Chris.
I have a question.
We have an answer.
I have a player, or I had a player that I drafted. I dropped due to him being on IR. Can I choose that player as my player, or does it have to be somebody that's on my final roster for the season?
Final roster of the season.
Well, then I'm fucked because I had to get rid of like half my players.
That's where it doesn't work. It has to be someone you drafted.
Yeah,
because otherwise it doesn't work.
Well, yeah, and so we can't do that whole. It has to be picked in the round above it. Because there's a lot of people Jordan, you had to drop 90% of your roster.
To keep, I don't have on my roster anymore because I dropped him because he went on IR.
I dropped 2/3 of my roster because of IR this year. This year was a very weird
year with IR. Do you want to keep anybody that's on your active roster, Jeremy?
On my current active roster, probably not.
Exactly. So
maybe Herbert, but I picked him up as a free agent like 10 weeks into the season.
Exactly. So you didn't draft him. So it's like. Then we need to have one round. So have it be the 8th round. The 8th round is your picks from the previous year, and that's that.
That doesn't work though. It gives an unfair advantage.
Well, then you can't pick anybody that you didn't draft.
Yeah, that's the point.
And
see, I'm trying to figure out what this unfair.
So they don't have to be on your active roster as of today.
They have to
no, Jerry. You're saying if you didn't draft them, you can't pick them.
No, I'm answering Nate's question first. What was your question, Nate?
My question was, how is it an unfair advantage if, in theory, no matter who we each pick, like me, I picked up. Shit, I didn't even pick up Aaron Rodgers because if you haven't figured out, I'm keeping Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, we kind of figured that much.
Really?
Because my starting quarterback got hurt, and then like my good tight end got hurt. So and I don't want to keep Derrick Henry, and the rest of my team's pretty much shit.
Yeah.
So I picked up Aaron Rodgers, number 10 in the 2nd round. I could have easily picked him up in the 4th round. So just because I picked a guy
yes or no
early doesn't mean that he's worth a 2nd round pick.
It does to you.
Chris, who are you going to pick?
I was going to grab Burrows back up.
All right, where did you pick up Joe Burrow? He's a defensive player, isn't he?
Burrow's a QB.
He's the quarterback for Cincy.
Right.
I'd have to look. I don't know.
So you are Lieutenant Dan. DK Dobbins. DK Metcalf.
So it's either we do it based on any player that was on your roster for the previous year. The issue is if someone's on multiple people's teams and someone wants to get him, like say someone picked him up, they were on IR for like a month and they said, forget it, I'm just going to drop him. He's not useful to me. And then someone else picked him up. Now they're technically on 2 different rosters. Like the players that you dropped off of the non-owned team for a while. If say one of those people wanted to be kept by both teams, how do you do that?
So going off of what Jeremy's proposing is Chris is going to keep Joe Burrow, who he drafted number 7 in the 10th round. So that means he's keeping a player that next year he has to pick in the 9th round.
Yes.
How is that at all competitively fair to somebody that keeps a draft pick from the 3rd round?
Because you are making your selection. Because you are making your selection based on knowing the fact is whoever you're picking is now going to be a higher round than you picked them last year.
So if I I didn't pick
Aaron Rodgers in the 2nd round, depending on how the draft is going.
But you picked.
So let's say I want to keep. So Jeremy, wait.
No, let me finish talking to Nate first. So Nate, the issue is it was your choice to pick him as a 2nd round pick.
Right. Even though I picked
picked
him at number 10, which I could have picked him number 1 in the 3rd round. Because I picked him at number 10, then I had the first pick for the 3rd round. So really, because I picked him up 10, it's essentially the same as picking up 1 and 3rd, which means he's still a second-round pick because he was the last pick of that round.
It doesn't matter where; it's all around.
So Jeremy,
It's
say
your own fault for pick. No. Let me finish talking.
No. I want
to know what Travis is going to say real quick.
So if I want to keep Baker Mayfield, I picked him up yesterday, earlier this week, free agency. Where would I choose him?
He'd be in theory he'd be a last pick.
So any roster person, but you didn't pick him the year before, so you have to just pick him on last overall, even if he like Kittle, who is a definite like 3rd, 4th, 5th round tight end.
No, see,
who I did draft, by the way.
This is the issue I was talking about earlier, where if someone was drafted by someone else, that's where you run into the
So
issue.
if Chris he drafted Kittle, wanted to keep Kittle, and I just got him off of free agency because he came off IR.
This is why I said you either have to do it based on whoever picked him original draft, or based on current roster. You can't do both. That's what I said earlier.
So then we have to have one round that's specifically just for the person you picked.
Watson.
No, you
yes.
don't have to have one round.
You have to. Commissioner's jumping in on this.
You have to pick.
This is what we're voting on.
Based on whoever was. You have to make it based on either whatever you drafted originally or whatever your current roster is at the end of the season.
Okay, so we're gonna make a vote. All right, either you're gonna have the pick on 1, 5, or 10, regardless of whatever round you pick him up. Oh, he closed out. Did he hang up?
He either froze or he got bitchy.
I muted him so that way I can move the show along. So here's my proposal.
He's coming back because he's mad that you muted him.
So either, regardless of what round you pick your guy in, we need to vote. Do we keep it where we have to pick in the 1st, the 5th, or the 10th?
10th.
First round. If you're gonna do that way,
10th.
first round.
I think 5th is fair.
No, it's not.
I was gonna say 5th.
Nate, tell you what. I'm just not gonna play next year. You guys do what you want.
That's okay. We can get another loser.
Really? You're gonna be this way, Jeremy?
He's gonna be a crybaby. He doesn't get his way. He's gonna be a crybaby. Yeah, he's gone. Oh well.
I don't understand how this. Look, I understand what he was saying. Here's my problem with that. One, somebody has to remember that about 300 days from now, what we did. So we have to make sure we write it down somewhere that we're going to remember this. So I would rather we have a hard set.
Yeah.
That no matter what, this is that pick. Because if we expect all of us to remember what we picked, I feel like it's just going to be confuckery and we'll have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
so
that's why you have to look at history.
Simple as possible. And
it is simple.
Every season.
Where's your video, Jeremy?
Same draft.
I don't know.
I didn't think he was
I'm
here.
not going to remember, all right, so I picked up Aaron Rodgers. Well, we have him for 2 seasons. So that means for 2 consecutive seasons, I have to pick Aaron Rodgers first round. Because that Serpentine,
that's your choice.
Then he's my last pick because I picked him first, so now I get to pick him last.
No, you can't do it that way. Then in theory, you have 2 first-round picks.
But Aaron Rodgers isn't worth a first-round pick. He wasn't even really worth a second-round pick.
I just was to you.
I was scared.
He was to you. It's
right.
all based on when
I
you
say
chose to
so.
choose the player.
Me and Chris, I'll go with 5th. So me and Chris say 5th round. 5th round is your picks.
I say 5th as well.
Of course you do.
Well, Chris is going to get a 7-rounder at number 5 next season.
Jerry, you're going to pick a first rounder, right? Or a second rounder, somewhere close to that, right?
No one in my team is worth keeping anymore. Everyone got hurt this year.
But
you realize Michael Thomas played 4 games this year. 2 of them, he could barely even go out there and do anything.
So
that was my first round pick.
So you're gonna pick your draft. So you can pick a person you drafted.
Yeah. Look at my draft. I have to go probably the 8th round to find a player that's actually legit played this year.
Right. But say you want to pick somebody that you drafted last year that got broken, of course.
Are you? Oh, here you are. So you in your draft you had Michael Thomas, Nick Chubb. Okay, so let's go that way. You can keep a player that you drafted for the next season, not somebody you added to your roster, somebody you drafted.
Okay, so wait. The question on that though, what if it was someone you added late in the season that wasn't on someone else's roster currently?
No.
Oh, why not?
I'm trying to keep this as even and fair as possible.
Well,
where
no,
we
as,
don't have
as
to try to remember-
commissioner, you have to remember
Right.
all this stuff.
If anything, then we need a historian to remember all this shit, and then we need a treasurer so that way we can figure out how much money people owe, so that way we can get new plaques for the trophies. If we're gonna go,
All right.
then we need a whole board of directors.
All right, let's do it. I believe the board is right here.
So I feel like
But the board is a
we
bunch
do
of idiots.
whoever you drafted is your list you can pick from. So you have
And if you don't want to pick anybody from your list, that's fine. You say,
It-
I am forfeiting my pick. I am
Yeah.
picking differently.
and you have a stout draft. You had Michael Thomas, Nick Chubb, Travis Kelce, Odell Beckham, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mark Ingram, Drew Brees, Nick Bosa, Jimmy Garoppolo, Demarius Leonard, Stephon Gilmore, Devin Singletary, Leonard Fournette, Cam Newton, James White, and
Yeah,
Chris
you
Boswell.
had a stout draft pick. It's not very often that
I
Drew
had
Brees
a
has
stout draft
has
pick.
10 broken ribs.
Right,
11,
in COVID.
and a punctured lung.
Yeah.
So, and what I think is completely fair is we only go off of what we drafted. Whoever you drafted, regardless of the round, that pick is mandatory at 5, because that's
I don't like it at
smack-
5 though.
It's smack
Don't
in the
care.
middle of the draft. Well, actually, we have 6, so 8. At pick 8, because we have 16
I don't-
picks.
That's
overall.
what I was saying originally, because we have 16
so-
picks. It's at pick 8.
Yeah. So if we put it right in the middle of the draft,
It's the
Chris
same
is
for
gonna be
everybody.
Picking up a 7th rounder in the 8. I'm picking up a late second pick at 8. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you could pick up Jimmy Garoppolo, keep him for another year. You had him at 9, and now you're picking him one ahead, or you keep Odell Beckham because he's coming back, and you get him at 8. And you don't even know what kind of season he's going to have the following year. Any of our picks here, look at friggin' Ezekiel Elliott. Gail picked him up number 1. Granted, she was auto drafting, but he didn't do shit this year.
Yeah.
But previous years, he was on.
I'm trying to pick up a quarterback that's not even 100% sure if he's going to be back next season. I'm doing this based off of the numbers he put up prior to blowing out his ACL.
So
you,
I
you-
think.
you realize he's gonna do jack shit next year.
So I think picking at a number 8 is smack in the middle. You still get the bid for
Oh.
your first round draft pick.
But wait, didn't Chris pick up what's his name later in the draft than that? Burrows, wasn't he like a?
Hang
What round did you pick Burrows up in?
I got you.
I
I
want
got
to say 9.
Joe Burrow was number 10, so he'd pick him up at number 9.
Well, wait. So wait, we are doing a round above?
No,
No,
if
no,
we
it's
did
just-
it that
It's a
way.
round
Yeah.
above Joe Burrow because nobody took Joe Burrow. And he's like, well, I guess I'll take Joe Burrow.
And
See,
you
and-
know, if we're doing it, we're doing it based off of the team that we drafted. That gives me some other options as well. But
Because you also got to think about the fact that your cannot cut list is coming from your number 1. So what if you get, look at
But
I
you
picked
could
up-
cut them.
not after number 1,
You could.
your first pick can't cut.
You
I
can
think
trade
it's
him and
the
they
same
can be
way with
cut.
your second cut, but then you have to trade him. You can't
Yes.
cut your first pick.
Yes,
Right.
but
So
you
if you
can
put
trade
him
him.
at-
Hell, I couldn't.
No,
I could trade all my.
IR, you can cut them. If they go on season-ending IR, you can cut them.
Well, I didn't have
I
that,
couldn't-
so I couldn't cut him.
Yeah, I didn't have the option with Christian McCaffrey, and
Just
I'm
'cause he
not
was
keeping
on
my number 1
season-ending
pick.
IR.
I'm not putting Christian McCaffrey. I might keep him.
Hell,
I
I'm
want-
I'm
I'll
pretty
take him.
sure
Or
Smitty wasn't
I might
happy
get
when he
Aaron
found
Jones.
out Lamar Jackson was the number 1 overall pick for me, and he couldn't cut him.
Right.
No, as soon as they're traded, they're cuttable.
So it needs to be. I think 8th pick is perfect for what we're going at, because
No, I don't agree.
well,
You're outvoted.
Chris
Well,
and
no,
Travis
see, the
are
thing
at
is,
number 8, right?
In order to have a vote for this kind of thing, you have to include the whole league, not just 4 members.
I'm
of the-
pretty sure the
10.
rest of the league will be okay. So I was looking at the thing. Mo, and it looks like the only one that was hoping for every year was Amanda, because she has Mahomesy. And
Oh, I don't care about the years.
But-
whatever, forget about the year thing. It's that spot you're picking them up in.
and everybody's
That's
gonna
the critical point.
everybody's saying if I get to pick, I get to say I get a new number 1 overall, and I get to pick the guy I want at number 8. That's perfect.
Yes, but they have to realize the fact is they're losing out on all the other possible players. You have to show them. You have to give them all the information. Say, listen, everyone gets a pick, but now your previous player that wherever you picked them is now your 8th round pick.
Nobody's
So-
gonna. An 8th round pick is like almost nothing, Jeremy.
Yes, but exactly. So now in theory, some teams will have 2 number ones. Some teams will have 1 number one, depending
No.
on who the players are and what players you draft. Because especially based on what you drafted originally, depending what players aren't coming back, what players are hurt, what players are currently on IR that who knows if they'll come back next year. It's going to change. It's going to make the pick a lot more.
Well, that would be like saying if I decided to keep Derrick Henry, who didn't do shit this year, as my number 1 pick, because if you're wanting to do it at number 1, he was my first, I believe, my first round pick, who didn't do shit. So I'm going to burn another first round pick for someone that's inconsistent.
Well, that would be your own choice, though. The fact
So you're
reason-
saying we should pick the very last player we ever picked, and then just pick the rest of our players like we did this previous year.
No, I'm saying
That is basically what you're saying. That's the bet.
No.
That's our best way to do it, because that
No,
way
I'm
we
saying
can't get screwed.
whatever. No, I'm saying whatever player you choose to keep, next year, where you drafted him this year. Next year he's now a 1 round higher draft pick. So you have to base your team based around, okay, so I picked Kittle as my 3rd pick. Now he's going to be in theory my 2nd pick. So now I know my tight ends is now my 2nd round draft pick. So now my 1st round draft pick's different. My 3rd round draft pick's different. And now you're keeping that player that you drafted at that current slot, knowing the fact, okay, he was a good player. He's still a good player. I want to keep him. So that's why I want to keep him. So now he's in theory more valuable to you. So now you bump him up a higher slot.
So far, let's see. Well, I know Gail's probably asleep. I'm willing to bet Mo is asleep.
No, she's reading her book.
Yeah. Well, I know Gail won't understand this. Neither, and it sounds like Amanda doesn't understand this.
Yeah,
Like,
she needs
why
more
does
information.
Spike over all other keepers being.
Yeah.
What did she?
She's basically saying, why is it spot 8 and not the very last pick overall? Because we all know we're keeping that one player. Every other player is on the board, but that one player that we decided to pick, no matter where we pick them, what round they should be picked in, they're the last spot. So it doesn't really matter. That's what she's saying. And there's no reason that you should have to keep picking your player up to their number 1 spot, or if I pick somebody up in the 2 and now they're number 1. But what if a QB should be number 1 and not a running back or a wide receiver?
That's your choice to make that pick, though.
Then why the hell I would say, well, I'm not going to keep anybody. I'm just going to pick them as I please.
That's your choice.
But I can say I'm going to pick them, but then not pick them.
Well, no. If you say you pick them, if you say you're going to pick them previous,
But that night I say I forfeit that pick, so I can just pick. That way you guys have already planned your picks out.
Well,
And then I pick them up saying everybody else has already decided which one they're going to pick in the second round. And now I pick up my guy in the second round because I'm ahead of you.
No, because if you say you're going to pick them the previous year and you forfeit your pick, you cannot pick them up. If you pick them up now, you have to lose your previous pick you picked the slot.
No, I'm with pick 8. Pick 8's dead middle.
Of course you are.
Chris, you're want to pick him in pick 8. Whether you pick a higher guy or a lower guy, right?
I think.
Yeah.
I'm for either pick 8 or last pick, and since we're not asking about the last pick, I think it's week 8.
Yeah.
And I get why we wouldn't do first because you can't drop them, right? Yes, that's exactly why. Why wouldn't you know that? And also, you can have the idea of because no matter what, you're keeping a quality player, regardless of wherever you draft him.
Possibly, unless you have no one quality on your team that you want to keep.
That's not our fault, Jerry, that all your players got hurt.
Keep whatever player you felt did the best for your team is why you're keeping them. So by keeping whoever you feel is quality for next year, like Chris keeping Joe Burrow, who he may or may not be any good, it might be a 10th pick, but he's going to have to pick him at an 8, that everybody in the league has an option or a chance to pick up the Derrick Henry that is now going to be available, or the Aaron Jones, or the fucking Odell Beckham Jr., or let's say Amanda doesn't want Patrick Mahomes, and she decides to keep Ben Roethlisberger because she drafted him originally. That means Patrick Mahomes is still available. So it adds more to the fact that you can keep or get the idea that you're going to get a quality first-round pick and not worry about your second round or your first-round pick being already somebody you already have, that you have to pick them up at 8, that's where they are, regardless of whatever round you picked them up in.
So
I
the issue is
the
you're
thing.
gonna have people who would have kept a different pick, but now because they're gonna be the 8th pick, you're gonna see people reaching for players that they picked last year. Now going, I'm gonna keep them because they ate their value. Where at 3rd or 4th pick, whatever they were last year, they were crappy. They weren't worth that pick.
No, pretty sure I'm gonna keep my number 2 or number 1, well, number 3 pick from last year.
Exactly.
But no matter where I'm picking them, I'm gonna do that. But I'm not gonna take my number 2 if I have to pick them number 1.
So wait, if it doesn't, what you just said, no matter where you're picking them, you're still gonna keep them. But then 2 seconds later, you say if you pick number 1, you're not
if
gonna
I'm like if I'm picking them,
what you just said. That is what you just said.
Okay, hang on,
Jeremy. I am saying I am not gonna take somebody that's not a QB or something like that in a first round.
So I'm looking at what everybody drafted, right?
You're choosing to keep your second or third.
If I could keep him in the second round, yes. Otherwise, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna pick my last guy.
No, because then you said no matter.
And that way I can drop him.
Keeping one of those 2 players. You just said that.
No, Jerry. I'm saying that if I have to choose him in a round up from what I picked him from last year, I'm gonna pick my last guy that I drafted. That way I can drop him and pick up another guy instead.
Well, let me add this real quick. So let's think about this, okay? The Shamrockers, let's say they want to keep Kyler Murray, right? He was number 5. Now I'm looking at Smitty, right? I have Kareem Hunt and I have Jarvis Landry on my roster. He can keep either Kareem Hunt or Jarvis Landry, who are at number 9 or number 11 respectively. So just because you want them to go 1 slot higher, or say we make him a first-round draft pick automatically, now the Kareem Hunt isn't worth a first-round pick. He was picked in the 9. And Jarvis isn't worth that either.
I never said make him a first-round pick.
See,
I said move him up 1 round higher.
Right. So I think if
they're
at 8,
a valuable player to you, you understand that person is a value at that slot. It makes your choice more interesting.
You also have Tom Brady, who got picked up in the 8th as well, which moved to the 7th, and then the 6th, let's say if he plays for 2 more years. If we keep every person, regardless of where they are, that is your 8th pick. So that way, every year we don't have to keep going back to what we did the year prior. Say, oh, was he a number 2? Oh, now he's a number 1. Or, oh, was this guy a number 7 2 years ago?
I hate to tell you, it's like 3 clicks and you can find out who everyone picked in the draft.
I think number 8, whoever you pick them again in number 8.
So you're saying you're a lazy commissioner?
Yes. And we're fully on board with that.
You are officially here.
And the Dolphins won.
So
cool.
You have an idea of what's going on.
A little bit.
Okay. So the question is, do we move them up 1 spot for next year, or do we automatically, no matter what?
I gotta pee. I'll be back.
All right.
See you, Chris.
Chris leaves me now.
So Travis, Chris, and I say number 8 every year, regardless of whoever you drafted. Jeremy is trying to argue that because it's how he does it in all the other leagues he's in, that if you keep a 9, your 9 will become an 8. If you keep that 8 for the following year, he becomes a 7. And then you can no longer keep that person, and you're subjected to the draft after that.
So did we already decide 2 years enough?
Yes.
Yes, 2 years is decided.
2 years, that's it.
So, Nate, can I talk to him?
But if you pick a 2 and now you have to pick him as a 1, even though he's not worth a 1, he's only worth a 2, maybe 3.
Boys, let Amanda talk.
All right.
She has the floor.
This is a lot. I guess I just don't know enough about football to understand the difference in a 14th round pick.
So
versus...
I need you not to be Switzerland in World War II. And because you don't know anything or much about football, you have the perfect perspective to vote on this. Either they are number 8, no matter what, or they are progressively the next higher position sequentially or whatever.
Nate, I think you need to propose that to the group.
I did. It's in the group chat.
It is.
So if your wife is at home, she might want to get in the group chat.
She is, because I'm talking to her right now.
She can. All right. Well, it's quiet after 8-9.
I
so
just feel like this is something that we should just have a poll, somewhere.
That's
and
what we're doing right
not
now.
Decide on
That's
air because
that's what we're working on.
arguing and bickering back and forth. You just put in the options. We have what 3 or 4 options. Everybody picks, and the majority wins.
I think we're down to 2 options now, Amanda.
Yeah, it's only 2 options. Either
So-
you get them at 8, or you get them one higher position every year.
So let's create the poll in the group chat. You make your pick and you're decided on it.
How do you create a poll in the group chat?
I don't know if you can in the group chat.
I don't think so either.
So
I
we
can
have
do
to
it.
do a
Hang
poll.
on. I got it.
All right.
We'll do the poll.
Anyhow, let's just
We're
go
gonna do the poll
through.
off there. Let's move forward.
All right.
Travis, do your thing.
So, last week's games. Let's move this thing down. Jeremy ended up being the overall winner with 13. Gail followed up with 12. Amanda, me, and Chris followed with 11. Nate and Smitty with 10, and Amanda with 9. The Los Angeles Chargers went to the Raiders. They won 30-27. The Buffalo Bills went to the Denver Broncos. The Bills beat the crap out of them 48-19. The Carolina Panthers went to Green Bay Packers and lost 24-16. Houston Texans went to Indianapolis Colts and they lost 27-20. The Detroit Lions went to Tennessee. Tennessee smacked them around for 46 points. They lost to 46-25. Chicago Bears beat the Minnesota Vikings 33-27. The Seattle Seahawks beat the Washington football team 20-15. New England Patriots didn't score a single touchdown in the loss to Miami 22-12. The Jacksonville Jaguars lost to the Baltimore Ravens 40-14 in that shellacking. Tampa Bay Buccaneers won 31-27. The San Francisco 49ers lost to the Dallas Cowboys 41-33. The Philadelphia Eagles lost to the Arizona Cardinals 33-26. New York Jets finally have a win with a 23-20 win over the Rams. That was a ridiculous game. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the New Orleans Saints 32-29. The Cleveland Browns beat the New York Giants 20-6, and the Pittsburgh Steelers lost again to the Cincinnati Bengals 27-17. And in this week, right now, currently, the Miami Dolphins did win. So right now we all have, let's see, did everybody go with the Dolphins? Ooh, Mo did not go with the Dolphins. So Mo is the only player right now that does not have 3 wins in so far this week. And I will post a picture of this so everybody can follow tomorrow's games. And that is that, since we have everybody's picks in because we didn't know when we were going to get on here. And that is that. So I think that's going to call it after we argued about how we're going to do our fantasy league next year. So
It looks like we have a grumpy shipmate.
That's all, folks.
Call me a shit, mate.
bye, guys.
Bye.